So in the last class, I have started discussing about abstract data type. So it's actually, I was just recapping regarding what is an abstract data type. So an abstract data type specifically consists of basically three parts, as we have discussed: data stored, operations on the data, and error conditions associated with the operations. So far we have discussed in the first course in this series, uh, CS3101, we have discussed array abstract data type and stack and queue abstract data type. So all of them are linear abstract data types that we have discussed in the, I mean, started briefly discussed in the last class. So in the last class, I have also mentioned that there is a nonlinear data type which we will be covering in this course, that is called tree. But of course, you might be having the question that what are these linear and nonlinear data types? So this linear data types, in linear data structures or linear abstract data types, elements are arranged sequentially or linearly. That means they are actually attached to one another, I mean, also to the previous as well as or to the next nodes in a series. So all elements will be stored in a single level. That means we'll be able to traverse all the elements in a single pass. Computer memory is actually maintained in this linear manner. So that's why linear data structures or linear abstract data types are easy to implement. And the examples that we have discussed is array, stack, queue, and linked list. In comparison, nonlinear data type, the elements are not arranged sequentially or linearly. Elements are actually spread across multiple levels, whereas for linear data structures, it was in single level. For this, it is actually in multiple level. That means we cannot traverse all elements in a single pass. And the most important part is nonlinear data structures utilizes the computer memory very efficiently, so that there is a less amount of memory misuse of memory in comparison to linear data structures or linear abstract data types. The examples are trees and graphs. In this course, we will be discussing about trees. All right. So another thing is some points to highlight here. So as I am saying that all elements will be in the single level for the linear data structure, and for non-linear data structure it will be spreaded across multiple levels. So as you can understand, that level is very important in these data structures. So basically the levels are defined in the horizontal manner. So another thing is so basically another thing to highlight here is you can see that linear data in case of linear data structures, we will be able to traverse all elements in a single pass. But for non-linear data structure, you can see that we can't do that. So actually, for non-linear data structures, we don't need to traverse all elements in a single pass, or actually we don't need to traverse all elements. We rarely will be needing to traverse all elements. There are cases in which we will be needing to do that. There are specific algorithms to do that as well. But the specific utility, the most important utility of nonlinear data structures is to search for an element that we will be discussing. Of course, as I said, there will be cases in which we will be needing to traverse all elements. In those cases, we will be discussing some algorithms on how to do that as well. So tree. So tree, as I have stated here, so tree is a nonlinear data structure. So the tree that we used to see every day and the tree what we will be discussing is the other way around. So basically you can see this is the tree. This is basically the upward down tree where the root is at the top and the leaves or the individual branches are at the bottom. So this is basically the thing with the tree data structure. So in case of a tree data structure, we will be following this manner. So basically root will be at the top and individual branches or leaves will be at the bottom in individual levels. So as I was saying here, all elements are in a single level for linear data structures, and all elements are in multiple levels in nonlinear data structures. You can see, you can understand actually. So this is one level, this is another level, this is another level, and so on. So as you can understand, there is a hierarchy. So this is a hierarchical abstract data type. So it is basically, the tree basically consists of nodes which will be containing some data, and there will be some parent-child relationship. As you can see, I have put an arrow. The arrowhead, actually the arrow is starting from the parent node and is ending at a child node. So you can see this is the parent and this is the child. Actually, there are two children of this node having the data 32. And each element except the root, uh, basically now let's consider it as a top element at the toppest level, will be having zero, or each element except the top element will be having a parent. So as you can see, except this, every node has a parent associated with it. And you can see there is only one parent. There is no direct connection between them. There is no node having multiple parents associated with that. So formally, let's define a tree. So a tree will be a set of finite set of nodes having, as I said, a parent-child relationship that satisfies the following criteria. There are basically three criteria. So all the elements, among the elements in this finite set, say if I specify it as T will be having a special node, which I was referring to as the top element, which will be called the root, that will be having no parent. This is the first criteria. Remaining nodes in this finite set T can be partitioned into m disjoint sets, T1 up to Tm, where each Ti will again be a tree, and each node, the third is the most important criteria, each node V of T other than the root will be having a unique parent. So as I was saying that the root node will not be having any parent. So all the other nodes will be having only one parent, and that parent will be unique. So as you can see, as I was constantly referring to as nodes. So you might be wondering what I'm referring to as a node. So a node is basically an entity with some stored key value, some stored information, as well as pointers to its child nodes. So this is by this. So basically, a node will be consisting of mainly two parts: a key or a set of key, and a set of pointers that will be pointing to all the child nodes. Root, as you can already understand, the root is a specially designated node which will be having, which do not have any parent. And there are some certain other special types of, the other types of nodes can also be called by some specific names as well. So it is called leaf node when the nodes will not be having any children. So you can see from A, there are two children, B and H. From B, there are three children, C, D, and E. And from C and if I look at C and D, you can see there are no direct children from C and D. So they are basically leaf nodes or external nodes. So in this diagram, C, D, F, G, J, K, L, and N are leaf nodes. And the rest of the nodes are called the internal nodes. That is the nodes with at least one child. So as you can see, B contains 3 child, E contains 2 child, I contains 2 child, H contains again 3 child, but M contains 1 child. So these are called internal nodes. And edges is basically the link between any two nodes. So as you can see, there is a edge, there is an edge. So basically these edges are basically the connection or the relation that is there in the tree between any two nodes. And each edge, as you can understand, that edge is basically specifying the parent-child relationship. And siblings are the nodes with having the same parent. So as you can see, I, L and M are siblings because they share the same parent, that is H. Also B and H are siblings which shares the same parent, which is A. Also, basically, these trees are called subtrees of A. That is, the tree consists of a node and its descendant. So this is basically, so if I consider the whole tree, A is the root, and this is a subtree of A. This is another subtree of A. If I consider this node, this portion, specifically this portion, this subtree of A, here H is the root, and there are 3 subtrees. One is this, one is only this node, and another is only these 2 nodes. So these are subtrees of H. Some further tree terminologies. So ancestors of a node. So ancestors are basically the parent, grandparent, or grand-grandparent, or grand-grand-grandparent, something like that. So from this diagram, let's answer what will be the ancestor. I mean, number of ancestors. I mean, basically you can see ancestors of a node is the parent, grandparent. So basically it is basically the count of this thing. So basically in ancestors of D, so what are the ancestors of D? Please answer. Anyone?
B and A.
B and A. So if I consider the count, so it is 2. So basically there are 2 ancestors of D. Corresponding to, I mean, similarly, descendant of a node is the child, grandchild, grand-grandchild, or grand-grand-grandchild, and so on. So descendant of M in this diagram, what will be the descendant of M? Anyone? Descendant of M.
Just M.
Just N, correct. So basically the count is 1. So here the count was 2. So at some point we will be needing this count. So we'll be needing how many ancestors of a node is there in the tree for some node, how many descendant of a node is there for a given node, and so on. Now a node P, so for example a node P, any node P, say B, is a descendant of a node, say in this case A, if and only if B is, if and only if A is also an ancestor of B. As you can see, there is a recursive relation, or the other way around, we can define this ancestor-descendant relationship just in the similar way that we can do in our family tree hierarchy as well. We can define similar thing in tree data structures as well. So a node, I mean, specifically the definition is, say a node P is, I mean, will be called a descendant of a node Q if and only if Q is an ancestor of the node P. So in this example, a node, so here B is a descendant of a node A if and only if A is an ancestor of B. So this is another way of defining this ancestor-descendant relationship. So some further terminologies that are very important for tree, for understanding tree and for understanding different tree properties. So degree of a node. So it is basically the number of nodes connected by links to a given node. So my question, so degree of H, what will be the degree of H? Anyone? What will be the degree of H? So degree is the number of nodes connected by a link to a given node. So what will be the degree of H?
4.
Degree of H will be 4 because there are 4 edges connected with it. Correct. So it will be 4. Okay. So another needed terminology is level or depth of a node. So a level, so this is a recursive definition here. So level of root will be 0 and level of any node will be the level of its parent plus 1. So another way of defining the level or depth of a node is the length of the path from the root to that node, basically the number of edges that are there between root and the corresponding node. So for example, level of E or depth of E. So what will be the level of E? Anyone?
2.
Should be 2, right? So level of root is 0. Level of, so we are we are actually computing the level of this node. So the parent of this is having level, I don't know what, but parent of this is having, parent of this is this, and this is containing, this is in level 0. So in this recursion step, we can see level of a node will be the level of its parent plus 1. So as the level and the base condition is level of root is 0. So this will be having level 1 and this will be having level 2. So as you can see, so all the nodes in this portion will be having level 0. All the nodes in this portion will be having level 1. All the nodes in this portion will be having level 2 and so on. All right. So, okay. So, yes, question.
Sir, isn't statement 2 and statement 3 are equivalent? The level of node equal to level parent plus 1, then that's equivalent to the statement level of the
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So these two statements are actually equivalent. Actually, these are two different ways of saying the same thing. So level of node equals to, you are absolutely correct. This is, these are absolutely the same thing. All right. So another important thing is height of a node. So height of a node is the number of edges on the longest downward path from the node to a leaf. So now my question, so what is the height of E? So height of a node is the number of edges on the longest downward path from the node to a leaf. So I want to get the height of this. So what will be the height of this node? The number of edges on the longest downward path. So downward path, there are two. Both of them are having length 1, or there are actually 1 and 1 edges. So height of E will be what?
1.
Absolutely. So it is 1. Another is very important concept that will be needed for a very important properties while defining binary trees, height of a tree. So height of a tree is basically the height of the root node. So here I have defined height of a node, and height of a tree is the height of this node. So what will be the height of this node? Can you say, anyone? Height of this A in this tree?
3.
It is. So there are basically, you can see in all nodes. So the longest path is here. This is one longest path. The same path is here as well. Another is here, and another fourth one is here. And all of them are having the length. In between there are actually 3 edges. So basically the height of this tree will be 3. Another way of defining the height is the maximum level of any node. So as you can see, the maximum level of any node in this tree is 3. So that's why the height of this tree will be 3. Now let me clear you with some further definition that you may find in some books. So first start with this degree of a node. So as we are saying, degree of H was 4. But in some books, you may find that it is defined as the number of subtrees having this node as a root is called the degree. So from that definition, what will be the degree of this node? Again, I am repeating, the degree of node is the number of subtrees having that node as root. So what will be the degree of this node? Anyone? How many subtrees are there? So as I was 3, correct. So as I was saying, all the subtrees, all these are subtrees separately. So in this tree, you can consider this only this portion. So here there are 3 links. So basically the definition is subtrees having this node as the root. So as you can see, there are 3 direct children out of this H node. So in that definition, following that definition, the degree of H is 3. Another definition is the number of descendant of a node. Again, the number of descendant is 3. Another definition is, another way of defining the same thing is the number of branches of that node. Again, you can see there are 3 branches. But this is, number of nodes connected by links to a given node is the most accepted one. So that's why we will be following that definition only. All right. So now I'm asking you a question. So what are the degree of the leaf nodes? Can you say using this definition?
Sir,
Yes. Question.
so but the definition which you told just now that considers the parent node. I mean,
No,
here
no. Of course not. So here, in this case, the definition that is there in here, it is the number of nodes. So basically, here it is considering the edge which is coming from its parent to its node, to itself, right? So that's
Yes.
why it is 4. But the definition that you may find in some other books is that is the number of subtrees. So number of subtrees means only this, and this. It is not considering this. And also the number of descendant. Again, the number of descendant is 1, 2, 3. Or the number of branches. Again, 1, 2, 3. But they are not actually considering this one. But in this, we will be considering this as another, this as another component in the degree as well. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now question to you, what will be the degree of the leaf nodes following this definition? Please, it's an easy one. So there are, so all the leaf nodes, you're correct, all the leaf nodes will be, the degree of all the leaf nodes will be 1. So as you can see, all these leaf nodes are connected only to its parent. So that's why all these degrees will be 1. Right. So the next component. So yeah. So another thing is the depth. Another way of defining this level or depth is the number of ancestors. So here I'm defining the level of. So basically there are 2 definitions that I have given. One is this, which is a recursive definition of level or depth. This is another, which is basically the length of the path from the root to the node. Basically the number of edges in between. Another way of defining the depth is the number of ancestors of that node. So as you can see, level of E. So as you can see, level of E was basically 2, as we have seen earlier. But another way of defining is that the level or depth of a node is the number of ancestors. So as you can see, there are 2 ancestors of E, B and A. So that's why again the level will be 2 following that definition as well. And another definition for height is the maximum depth of any node. So following this definition of depth, so height of the tree, height of height of a not node, height of a tree. So height of a node, height of a tree will be the maximum depth of any node. So maximum depth or maximum level of any node here is 3. So that's why the height of this tree is 3. All right. Any question up to this? All right, moving ahead. So there is another concept called forest. So forest is basically a collection of disjoint trees. So you can see basically this is a forest. This forest is consisting of 3 trees. Now one specific again question to you. So if I just remove this, what I will be ending with? Let's consider that this link is broken and I have removed this 49 node. So basically there will be this subtree only and this subtree only. So what I will be ending up with? Anyone? So basically, if I remove one root, I will be ending up with a set of subtrees. If I consider them all together, it will be basically a forest. So just consider this tree. Just consider, say, for example, this tree again. So it is a single tree, right? But if I remove this one, I will be having 2 separate subtrees or basically 2 separate trees. After removing this, these are not subtrees, these are actually trees. When it is there, these are the subtrees of this node. But when I have removed this, they have become tree. So basically, if I remove one, the root node of any tree, I will be ending up with a forest. So we can create a forest by just removing the root of any tree. So this is a special type of tree. In this example, you can see all the nodes are in the same side. So it is in the left side, it is in the right side. So this is called a left skewed tree, or these together, I mean, these are called skewed trees, or as all the child of this tree are in the left side, this is called left skewed. And in this tree, as all the child of each node are in the right side, these are called right skewed. So you might be wondering, why am I specifying right and left here? So let's wait until tomorrow's class. Then I'll be discussing why I'm actually talking about left and right here. So basically, for the time being, let's consider that a tree, a node, can have left child and right child, and if a tree, if all the nodes in a tree is containing only the left child, it will be called left skewed. And if a tree is only containing, if all the nodes in a tree only contains right child, no left child, it will be called right skewed. So these are basically 2 special types of tree that we should be avoiding. Can you say why? Why we should be avoiding this type of trees?
It just looks like a list then.
Sorry?
It is like a list then, it's not.
Absolutely correct. So it is basically, it is similar to just array with different nodes. A, B, and C, and so on. So it is, we are not actually getting the hierarchical relationship. If we just consider, it's just a linear thing here. So there will be cases in which we will be encountering this, and we need to avoid them in using some mechanism, and we will be discussing them. All right. So again, one question to you guys. So I have defined the definition in this way. So it will be, a tree will be a finite set of nodes with one specially designated node called the root. The remaining nodes will be partitioned into n disjoint subsets or sets, which will be called as subtrees. And each node in this in this finite set T, other than the root, this specially designated node will be having a unique parent. So in this diagram, is it a tree? Is this diagram, is it a tree? Anyone?
No.
This is not a tree. Why? Which condition is getting violated here?
Third conditions, node I and H have the same parent.
Correct. So this third definition, the third condition is not getting satisfied for all the nodes. Why? Because for this node, we can see there are two parent associated with this this I node. So one is H, one is A. So this is basically a graph, which is another nonlinear data structure or nonlinear abstract data type, but this is not a tree. So, so of course we will be, I mean, you will be asking why we should be using nonlinear data structures. Why we should be using tree data structures? So, because I mean, the reason is in the linear data structures, all the data are stored sequentially. But while performing any operation on this linear data structure, maybe array, linked list, stack, or queue, it would take a much larger time if the number of elements stored in the array is is of significant number. I mean, if there are say 10,000 or more than that number of elements in an array or in a stack or queue, it will be very much time consuming to kind of search some items out of it. Of course, you can consider sorting them and you can apply binary search. But again, I mean, there are some problems with having a binary search in an array as well, which we'll be discussing when we will be discussing about binary search tree. So for the time being, I mean, let me just tell you, because why for a binary search it is also time consuming. Why am I saying that? Because of dynamic data. So consider you have this array and it is sorted. So as you may know that for applying for using binary search, we need to have basically sorted array, right? So now consider this array is sorted, but a new element come. So you need to put it in the sorted manner in this array, right? So it is actually very much time consuming because you need to shift some in the right, some of the elements in the right place, in the right direction. Then you need to accommodate this the new elements somewhere, and then you can again apply binary search. This accommodation, this addition of new elements is actually time consuming. So that's why this is, I mean, if the number of elements to be searched increases, it is very much time consuming in case of a linear data structure. So the time complexity can be order of n, where n is the number of element, and as you can understand, and if the value of n is quite a large one, it will be the time complexity will be very much. But in case of tree data structure or in general the nonlinear data structure, the time complexity can be reduced to order of log n. As we have discussed in the earlier course, that order of log n is of course much less than order of n. So it is actually it will actually be taking less time while computing some operation, while applying some operation on nonlinear data structures. And another important thing is this nonlinear data structures utilize computer memory efficiently in comparison to linear data structure. So can you say how? Acha, okay, so let's defer this question for the next class. So I will be discussing this. It's a very important and very nice one to discuss. So a tree abstract data type, as I have defined, an abstract data type will be consisting of three parts: data stored, operations on the data, and error conditions associated with those operations. So some general operations are basically this. Say we need to write some. So basically, for an abstract data type, we need to define this, right? For primitive data types, the items that can be stored are defined by the libc or the C library. But for this abstract data type, we need to define some mechanism to handle these individual components, the specific components of any abstract data type. For tree abstract data type, the corresponding operations basically are generally these 6. And there will be some others as well, which we'll be discussing further specific to some specific type of tree. So tree, for example, root, this is a function that returns the root of a tree. A parent of V given a node, which will be returning the parent of that node, and so on. It's self-explanatory, you can understand. And in red, I have specified the error conditions that should be handled while writing these operations on the, while writing these functions that will be operating on the data. So now you might be wondering, what are these data? So for tree, anything can be a data, anything can be considered as a data. So you can consider a string as a data, you can consider an integer as a data, you can consider some complicated data structures as a data as well. So here I am specifying, so far I have specifically told about trees. Now I'll be focusing on some specific trees that are called n-array tree. So an n-array tree is a tree with at most n number of children. So any node other than the leaf nodes will be having at most n number of children associated with it. So now my question to you is, for this tree, as you can see, there are no cycles or there are no nodes having multiple parents. So considering this definition, what is the value of n here? Anyone?
It's a tertiary tree.
It's ternary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, you can see, basically you can see this B contains 3 nodes, H contains 3 nodes as well. So basically, in this tree, the maximum number of children of any node is 3. If this is the complete tree, if this is we are not going to, if we are not going to change this tree, it is basically a ternary tree. So basically, as there are, so basically this is a ternary, n array, so basically it's 3 array tree in this example. So again, coming to the definition, so the definition of tree was this, where the remaining, as I have changed this portion, I am going to change this portion to define an n-array tree. So this second condition is, remaining nodes are partitioned into m disjoint sets. For a generic n-array tree, the remaining nodes are partitioned into m greater or equals to 0, and m will be also less or equals to n. So that many disjoint sets we will be able to partition the remaining nodes. So this is called an n-array tree. So any question up to this? Any question? Anyone? So if I specify the value of n as 2, it is called a binary tree. So that is the tree that we will be focusing more in this course. So basically, as you can see, as you can understand from this definition, so it will be having. So if I consider the value of n as 2, so it is so any node will be having the remaining nodes other than the root node will be able to. I mean, we will be able to partition them into either. Remaining nodes will be able to partition into this many where the value of n will be 2 for binary trees. So is it clear to everyone? So I was extremely sorry, I have made a small mistake here. It should not be here. That's why I'm kind of stumbling here as well. So basically remaining nodes will be able to partition them, but for each node, the number of child will be, so basically there will be one another condition associated with it. It's wrong thing that I have written here. So all the nodes can be, I mean, we will be able to, oh no, it's actually right. I mean, I have defined it in a separate way. So let me just take a minute to define this in case of a binary tree. I just got a little bit confused. So it is a recursive definition, you know. So as I am saying that the remaining nodes for any node, so consider this as the root, as a tree. This is the root. So any node in this tree we will be able to partition into I mean m number of partitions where m can be greater or equals to 0. Sorry, m will be greater or equals to 0 and less equals to 2. So here in this, for the whole tree, there are actually two subtrees or 2 branches for this node. Now consider only this branch. This is the root, right? I can able to I mean break it up. I mean there are actually, I can partition the rest of the nodes in 2 branches. For this as well, this is the root. I'm able to break it up in 2 branches. Now consider this as the root. Here you can see I'm able to, I mean here I can I mean partition the rest of the nodes in only 1 branch. And for all the leaves, you can see there are no left or right child. So that's why this condition is getting satisfied for the leaf nodes. Is it clear? Sorry for the confusion, it's actually correct. Do you have any question?
Sir, does the root also follow the binary condition here?
Absolutely.
Like-
So absolutely. So basically, I mean, consider the whole tree. So this is the root. So here, so the definition says the remaining nodes are partitioned into m greater or equals to 0 and m less or equals to 2 disjoint sets. T1, for this case, it will be T1 and T2. I mean T0, T1 and T2. Basically, I mean, as we are considering m greater or equals to 0, there can be some subtrees with T0 as well. For the whole tree, there are basically two subtrees. Like this is one subtree, this is another subtree. For this is, I mean, this is a separate tree,
Sir,
right?
I was asking whether root also follow this. Like in the previous slide, you wrote the remaining roots.
Remaining nodes,
right?
remaining nodes.
But can the root have more than 2?
No. So okay, so there is a small confusion because I mean the remaining nodes actually is associated with the, I mean this unique parent thing. So basically, I mean I think you are correct regarding this. So of course, for the root as well, we can, as you can see, the root. So basically, I mean, root is the only node here. So up to this level, if I consider this, up to this level only there is root, right? So this is at level 1. So sorry, level 0. So at level 0, there is only root. And as we have already defined root here, T has a special node called the root that has no parent, and we are partitioning the rest of the nodes. So this relationship, you are absolutely correct. This is also valid for root as well. So the root will be having 0. So basically, as you can already understand that this is also a tree for which there is no left child, there is no right child. For this case, the value of m here, the satisfied, there is no t, for this example, for this thing here, we cannot actually, there is no disjoint subsets, disjoint sets here. So you are correct. So we can actually apply this condition on the tree, on the root as well. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. So thanks a lot. I am already quite past the time. So thanks a lot. If in case you have any doubt regarding today's class, please let me know. I will be sharing this slide as well as so I haven't written any code, so I'll be sharing this slide with you guys so that you can kind of refer them. Thanks a lot. Let's meet tomorrow again at 10 o'clock.